Hi everybody, Nathan Hale here with a little sneak peek at Hazardous Tales number 11. I'm drawing and working on it right now. This is called Cold War Correspondent, a Korean War tale. And here in this page right here, we can see that Cold War correspondent. A war correspondent is a reporter who writes from the front lines of a battlefield. And our frontline reporter here is a woman named Marguerite Higgins. Maggie Higgins was in the Korean War. She was there. She was there to record the whole thing. She wanted to see what happened. And here she is at a very big part of the Korean War, early days. This is the Amphibious assault on Inchon. Inchon is a big harbor coastal city very close to Seoul, Korea. And in 1950, the United States of America went to Inchon with the UN. There were Canadian boats and Australian boats, English boats, but of course there were 200 and something American boats there, all doing this big assault on Inchon Harbor. And Maggie fought for position on one of those landing boats. She wanted to go. She wanted to report from what she saw on that landing. This was very similar to Normandy, the big invasion at the end of World War II, but unlike Normandy, there weren't beaches in Inchon Harbor. Instead, there was a giant seawall. So you can see Maggie is climbing over this big seawall made of boulders. It was about 16 feet high, and water crashing and splashing everywhere. And she is climbing those boulders with the assault marines. They're all charging in. Right now she's complaining. She had been told there was going to be ladders to climb on. The first wave of Marines did bring ladders, but as you can see in this panel here, she's climbing kind of near a big crater where some of the seawall would have been hit by destroyers or airplanes. They really, the UN forces really hit the coast hard with a bunch of bombs and weapons from their ships and airplanes to soften up the defenses for the assault. And here's our soldiers all climbing up this rocky seawall. You can see the landing craft pulling away. This would have only been 5 years after Normandy. These same type of boats would have been used. They're called Higgins craft, which is a weird coincidence because like I said, our Cold War correspondent is named Maggie Higgins. I don't think they have anything to do with each other, but the boats are now leaving, pulling away. Those metal boats are not metal. I learned when I was researching this book, those were made of wood. Those Higgins craft landing boats. And here is Maggie. She's got her goggles and her helmet on. That thing that she's got, that satchel bag, is her typewriter. She had to go in with this assault, and once she came in with the assault, she needed to be able to write up everything she saw so that it could go to the newspaper and be published for all of the readers back in the United States. So there she is, hitting those boulders on the seawall, ducking and covering with her typewriter. It's weird to think about how physical storming a beach like this would be. And these Marines, of course, are carrying all of their gear too. It would be one thing to, climb up a 16-foot wall of wet boulders just with free hands. But can you imagine doing it with a rifle and a giant backpack and a big clunky helmet? I do like these Marine helmets. These have been a lot of fun to draw. So far in the book, everything I've been drawing has been Army. And the Army helmets are just like Maggie's helmet. They're just kind of plain helmets. But these Marines for the Inchon landing have these great helmet covers that have these camouflage spots on it. There they are charging up that wall. They're ducking from some machine gun fire, even though they, the destroyers and the planes and everything hit those landing points really hard. There's still some defenders there. Maggie's in a goofy position, which we'll find out why in a minute here. So here's an unnamed Marine. You can see a close-up on that great helmet with its camouflage cover. He's getting psyched up to charge up and over that wall into enemy fire, if you can imagine such a thing. So here he is, the close-up on that helmet. He's got his rifle, big unwieldy backpack. He's climbed just up to the top of that big seawall, and he's ready to push over and see what sort of defenses are inside the seawall. This would have been the fifth wave on this particular beach, so there would have been Marines up there, but it doesn't mean it wouldn't be scary. So what happens to them up there? Well, we don't know, because on his way up and over the wall, he steps right on our Cold War correspondent's booty. That's right, Maggie Higgins is joining Napoleon and John Wesley Powell and many others in Hazardous Tales butt jokes. This is a true story. I did not make any of this sequence up. She wrote about it in her memoirs of her experience covering the Korean War, that on the amphibious assault on Inchon, she got her booty stomped on by a Marine who was charging up and over the wall. This guy thinks he's running in for glory and excitement, and instead just does something stupid and embarrassing. Isn't that the way? There she is. So yeah, she's hugging the ground. He didn't see her there, and she gets stomped on. The trick with a thing like this is you want to have the seriousness and the intensity of a situation like a giant amphibious assault, but when something funny happens, you got to kind of cartoon it up. You can see her face there, a little cartoonier than it is in other ones, because we want the fun comedy of somebody getting their booty stomped on. Oof, that would hurt. Can you imagine laying on some rocks and a big, fully loaded Marine accidentally stomps right on you? And as you can see from the next panel, she lets him have it. She yells at him good. Can you imagine this guy getting all psyched up to go over the wall and then just embarrassing himself like that? Poor guy. Oof. Anyway, yeah, there he is. You can see the bullets flying in. Here's Maggie's response as she's laying face down in the... Hey, what happened? Why did it loop over again? Let's pause that and figure out why it suddenly jumped back to the beginning. There she is, drawn in with those. You can see how many times I have to redraw helmets. The Army helmet shape, the United States Army helmet, it's a difficult shape. And even in this one, I don't think I'm fully happy with it. It's a little deformed because it's touching the side of the panel there. The goggles she's wearing on the cover of the book. If you haven't had a chance to see it, go online to your favorite independent stores or online bookstores and take a look at the cover of Cold War Correspondent. You can go ahead and pre-order it too. If you want to know what's truly terrifying, be working on a book that's not finished yet while people are busy pre-ordering it online. It just makes me work even harder. The faster you pre-order it, the faster I am at working on the book. I wish I was this fast. This is about 10 times speed, what you're seeing on the screen here. I'm not this fast. I've got it sped up. So here's the end of our page. Our poor Marine, he's gotten all psyched up, and he has to face the fact that what he has just stepped on is not a boulder. It is, in fact, a war correspondent, and he's just feels terrible. And then they go on with the this big invasion at Inchon. I'm very excited for this big sequence. The whole landing sequence is probably a good 12, 15 pages of the book. It's a huge, complicated operation in the Korean War. And I hope you guys enjoy it. That book will be out in October. Thanks for watching.